Welcome to Ask Us Marketing, a Cali Collective live stream. I'm your host, Callie Fedesinko of Cali Collective, a digital marketing agency serving financial advisors. Now, you've probably noticed a trend on your social media feeds and even on websites that you visit. Videos. Videos here, videos there, videos everywhere. And while video has become a newish trend for advisors, today's guest is no stranger to video. In fact, I'd be willing to bet she was telling us all how vital video would become long before it was even on your radar. Today's guest is Laura Garfield of Idea Decanter, a video production company serving advisors. Laura graciously agreed to be in our hot seat today to answer your questions about video marketing, specifically how to record and produce. So I'm going to start us out here with some of my own questions, but please ask your questions in the comments and we'll see them on our end and answer them as they come in. If we happen to get more than we can handle, we'll reply in the comments after the event. So Laura, thank you so much for being here today. We're really excited to learn some new strategies from a longtime video pro.
And Callie, thanks so much for having me. And I feel like I'm getting flashbacks from my TV news days because as we started this live, there was this countdown and I was all of a sudden flashing back to being in the studio right before the show began. 30-second and then the countdown from 10. I was like, here we go. We're live. This is so exciting.
Hold my breath a little bit, getting ready.
Deep breathing.
So I've known you, Laura, for almost a decade now, which is crazy. We met, for the audience, we met internally for when I was working at an independent firm that had hired Idea Decanter to do some videos. And Laura, even back then, which was 10 years ago, I remember you being such an advocate for video. And you're like, this is where it's going to be. This is where the future is. Everyone should be on video. So why did you believe it was like so powerful and relevant even then?
There is something about video that is just much more personal than having a phone conversation with someone, hearing their voice, which I feel like I never do anymore. Like our business is conducted mainly on video conferencing calls for the main reason because you can feel like you're with people. And that's what video really brings. There's some statistic out there that you get 60,000 times the amount of information from 1 second of video than you do from 1 second of reading copy. And it's just because the facial expressions, the body language, the inflection, all of those pieces help people really understand you. In fact, I have an interesting tidbit that just happened to me last week. I was going back and forth with someone coordinating a project for a conference through video. And the person who was coordinating, I think, felt like we were losing communication or losing the message was getting lost in translation.
Yeah.
And so she just recorded a quick video for me. And in 60 seconds, she said, so this is what I'm trying to get at. This is what I want to make sure you're not missing. And it just reinforced everything I know and believe about the power of video.
Yeah. It's so strong. Even you said, our business is conducted, and it's so true. Both of us have remote businesses. I have seen people in person maybe once in the last 2 years. And it is crazy how much can be conveyed through this medium. So you've produced video for a long time. What would you say for the advisors who are like, well, why should I? Yeah, it's powerful, but what can I expect as my return on investment? And then how long would you say that return takes?
Well, that's a great question. I answer that weekly for advisors. It is my belief that anything you do with marketing, you should give it at least 18 months to try it. And behind the scenes, we talk about folks who give things a try for a month or two as squirrels.
Yeah.
Because if you expect to have a major impact from any kind of marketing initiative from trying it for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks,
Yes.
I think you just have the wrong expectation. Now, that's not to say you can't get ROI from your first video.
Yeah.
And we have seen that happen for advisors. I'm thinking specifically of an advisor we work with in the Chicago area. He recorded his first video, got it compliance approved, sent it out to 300 people on his email distribution list. He had done some other things with the video first. He put it on his website. He pushed it out on social. But we find email is crucial with video marketing. And
Yes.
so he blasted this email out to 300 people, his clients, short list of prospects, and his COIs. And within 8 minutes of sending it out, a prospect emailed him back and said they were ready to get started. And later that same afternoon, another prospect came back to
That is
him,
crazy.
gave him a call. So he won 2 new clients, really began 2 new relationships from that very first video. And that is not a standalone story. We do hear that from advisors. But I think the key to getting strong ROI with video marketing is what I call the fourth quarter of the football game.
Mm-hmm.
So quarters 1 through 3 are what we do at Idea Kit, and what you can do when you're DIYing, and that is really planning and then recording and producing the story.
Yeah.
But that fourth quarter, you never play a football game without playing the fourth quarter.
Right.
The fourth quarter is really that post and promote, and that's building your internal standard operating procedure to make sure that all of the things that should be done with your video get done, or hiring someone to help you do that. Like,
yes, preach. Not just that, but also preach about the 18 months part, because I do feel like those stories that you gave, they do exist, obviously, but they're more of the exception, at least in my experience. Is usually you got to stick with it. And what's great about video that we've seen when we're pulling the metrics is that video has the longest shelf life out of any medium. So a blog, it doesn't maintain as long, and neither does the social posts. Socials, I mean, are like, you got to keep up. It's go, go, go. But videos, I mean, I remember having, when I worked internally at a firm, and it was like a year later after producing a video, they had a prospect who watched it and reached out to them. And that was like a year ago. So the investment, sometimes it just takes the long haul.
Yeah, and that's a story I hear over and over, because if you think about the way you engage with any business out there, you typically Google them before you ever make a move, whether it's a product or a service. And I hear from advisors frequently that they have prospective clients coming in and saying, I crawled around your website and watched every video that I could find before I made the decision to set this first meeting. And it is really powerful, especially if you have a great value proposition kind of video on your homepage and bio videos on your bio page. That is giving them a chance to really get to know you in a way that, frankly, we've been in this since 2014, working with financial advisors doing video, but it is still not kind of the cost of doing business. Not every financial advisor has video all over their website.
Yes.
So when you do, it is still putting you in front of the rest.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so a couple of years ago, we created a document for our savvy advisors, which for our audience, if you're our savvy advisors, is it's a membership to our website that allows you access to a lot of our free resources. And on there, we had budget-friendly video equipment lists. And as I understand it, Laura, advisors who use Idea Kit receive equipment from you. Is that right? And what kind of equipment are you sending, and is it included in the cost? Because that's huge.
Yeah, we do send out all of our tried and true tested equipment. I mean, I think we went through 30 different clip-on lavalier mics before we settled on the one we used for years. And we are just now beginning to use a different one because we found something we like even better. For a insider's look at what we're using for audio, our favorite mic had been, and we still love the quality.
Yeah.
It's the Rode Smart Lav.
Okay.
We like it. Rode is RODE, and then Smart Lav. Lav is for lavalier. And we like it because the audio quality is really amazing. It's definitely not the cheapest mic out there, but it's not the most expensive. Some folks like to use sort of a podcasting mic, which is more of that directional shotgun mic out in front of you. Most of our videos we shoot with advisors standing on their feet, moving around to multiple locations. So we like that clip-on lav mic that just catches the audio right here, kind of in a personal way. And then a new mic we're beginning to use is something that's produced by Sennheiser. And I wish I could spell it off the top of my head. I think it's Sennhauser, maybe. Spelling bee live on AUM. But the Sennheiser also great audio quality. And then as far as lights, we're typically sending out a ring light and an extra stand. We like to do that because when we're setting up a shot, we like to be able to offset the light so it's not sort of giving you the flat light on the face, and setting up the talent in a way that we can use some natural light also. So that's an option. I have a couple of lights set up around my desk right now that are called the Dazznies. It's Dazzne. And I always recommend them if people kind of want to upgrade and go to sort of next level. They're just a couple of LED panels, but they give you a lot of flexibility, and there's a little remote that goes.
Ooh, now that's great.
Wherever you are, you can adjust your light. Here, let me adjust my light a little.
That's amazing. And that's what you're sending in the Idea kit?
So the Dazznies are not, they are kind of an upgrade with the kit.
Sure.
We're typically sending out a ring light and then the separate stand.
I mean, I think the remote is worth it. So.
I'm with you.
Especially if you're doing it on your own. There's a lot you have to think about, and that'd be so much easier than when you walk over here, adjust this, walk back over here. Now, if you or anybody has spent time on the internet, you've probably seen a bad video or two. Laura, how do you coach advisors who are experiencing anxiety over creating a video because they don't want to look dumb? Like, how do you walk someone through that? Because that's definitely, I mean, that's a fear everybody has if they've made a video. Are people going to laugh at me?
And I would say that you need to accept the mantra, your first video is your worst video. Let me say that again. Your first video is your worst video. And it's just going to get better and better from there. It's just like anything, you know, it's like working the muscle, getting the practice in. You really do have to do the work in video to get better. And Callie, I've watched you progress. You can probably relate to this. I've watched your videos get better and better as you get more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Camera. What's been your secret sauce?
Doing it, just like you said, you know. I mean, even with the live stream, right? I mean, the first one, we definitely had some awkward pauses. And that's when, like, you know, you just learn as you go. So I went in, I'm like, okay, I need to have a long list of questions prior to getting in there. Otherwise, there's going to be some uncomfortable silences.
So beyond just recognizing that you're going to get better and better, you just hit on the other thing that's really important for video, and that is preparation. And I do think people take for granted that, okay, if I can just get past the fear, I'm going to record this and that's going to it's going to be good. And really there are ways you can practice or get ready before you record a video. And I'm sure what you're doing to prep for a live stream is a little different than how we would prep for an advisor recording a 2 to 3 minute video that is already fully pre-scripted, as opposed to kind of this live Q&A that we're doing. But when it comes to recording a script that you already have, I'm assuming you'd probably be using a teleprompter as opposed to trying to memorize it.
Yes, great. This is actually my next question. I was going to say, what do you use and what do you recommend?
Absolutely. Let's get to that, but let me walk you through what I do with the script. So my recommendation is to print your script out and then mark it up. And we used to do this in news all the time. And so if you imagine you're anchoring a newscast, you are going from doing a full 30-minute show at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock. So there's just all of this content that you have to constantly be reading live. And so the way that anchors prepare is they get all of their scripts printed out and they go through and they mark them up. So just marking the most important word in each sentence. And so when you print it out, it's really nice to be able to mark up your script. And then the second step of that is to take the script and stand in front of your bathroom mirror, or a big mirror in your bedroom, or a mirror in your office, and read your script. And so that's just hold your script up, make some eye contact with yourself in the mirror, and deliver it, and even practice what you're going to do with your hands. Typically, Sharon, my co-founder, likes to say this all the time: don't do the guns, don't point at the camera, but like, what can you do with your hands that feels like a natural gesture, that reinforces those important words that you're calling out?
So what kind of hand gestures do you recommend?
I do a lot of, like, I'm going to do it high since this is kind of cropped type, but I do a lot of, reinforcing words this way or like this. Sharon does a lot of kind of presenting. So just anything you can do that's within the shot, because you kind of know where you're framed and what's cropped out and what matters and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's actually a great point about the hands. And I'm going to turn I don't know if you're frozen for our viewers or just on my end. So real quick, I'm going to turn your video off and back on and see if it fixes it. Well, it's still frozen on my end, but if it's working on yours, I'm going to assume it's working for everyone else. Great thing you said about the hands is that's also what we have studied with thumbnails. Is it's really great if you get someone in an action shot, because people, you're only seeing a tiny little square. And so the more motion or interesting pose you can grab, the more people are going to click on it. That kind of goes back to, you said the first video that you produced is your worst one. And I feel like,
say it with me, Kelly, your first video is your worst video.
And I feel like with the thumbnails, people get very self-conscious of how they look. But I find that it's more important, you get more clicks if you have an interesting pose than you do if you are smiling and looking great. So you kind of just have to lean into the awkward.
Yeah. And I can tell you, we live by that at Idea Decanter, and my personal feeling when I see my thumbnails with me making like some big expression, I'm like, are we really going to use that? I look ridiculous, but you're right. Like, it looks more animated, it looks more action packed, and people are more likely to click on it if they think you're going to be entertaining.
I would say, especially on YouTube, the social posts, I feel like the videos play automatically a lot of times, so the thumbnail isn't as important. But YouTube, it's like you live and you die by those thumbnails.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what other questions I've got here.
Oh, I did want to add that there are teleprompter apps out there.
Okay.
And so you were asking for tips and hacks for teleprompters. There's one I like called Teleprompter Pro, but they're, depending on if you're Apple or if you're Android, just go to your Google Play Store or your App Store and search up teleprompter. There are oftentimes teleprompter apps you can download and load in like up to 3 scripts and use for free. What I think is important, and the reason why I pay to subscribe to Teleprompter Pro, is because if you don't, you get their watermark in the corner of your video, which you don't want. You want your own branding on But I think that's a great app to use. And you can control speed. You can control, if the background is black and the font is white, or if it's reversed, you can change the font size. And it actually records within the app. So you can see, what's happening, and then decide at the end of that record if you want to trash it or if you want to save it to your camera roll.
And does that work on your phone and computer?
Yeah, I do not use teleprompter apps on my computer, but I believe Teleprompter Pro does.
Okay, perfect. I personally like to record on my computer. If people are recording on their phone, what do you recommend? So I've got my phone right here. I'll show. You can have it facing towards you or this way. Obviously, there's 3 cameras on this end, so I'm going to assume the picture quality is going to be better here.
Yeah.
But then I can't see my teleprompter or, what I look like. So what do you recommend for people with?
I would say if your phone you've bought it within the last 2 years, you bought it new within the last 2 years, that you are safe to record on the selfie side, so that you can use a teleprompter app. You can check your face, make sure your hair looks good. The cameras all over the phone have come a long, long way. And most phones these days, you can record in 4K on the front or the back. You're right. I only have 2 cameras on the back of mine, but they are amazing. So we use the back cameras on phones a lot to shoot what we call B-roll or cover video. But in any situation where you think you want to be able to see yourself, I would go ahead and use the selfie side.
Got it. Love that advice. Okay. I've got a question here. We're about 7 minutes out, so I think I'm going to go to some of our quick questions for you. They're practical ones. So how many videos should I shoot at once?
I like to do 3 if possible. Okay. And the reason why is, depending on your cadence, most of our advisors we work with record or release rather a video a month. And so when you record 3 at a time, you actually have a whole quarter's worth of content that goes through compliance and is ready to use all at once. For our own marketing purposes, our cadence is once a week. And so, but I am not starring in every video. So if I can record one video in a shot, I'm just getting more content done at one time. And what I'm talking about here is probably 2 to 3 minute videos. If you're shooting shorts, you can probably do more in one session. What you really run into is just being able to be present and be in the right mindset and keep your energy up through as many videos as you can. So if you go in thinking, I'm going to shoot 12 shorts, 12 1-minute videos and knock this out, and we're going to be set for the next 3 months.
Right.
That's fantastic. But if you find that you have the energy to keep it up, or if you want to drink coffee beforehand and really amp yourself up.
Right.
But
that's what I do.
So. Callie's secret video tips.
Caffeine. Speaking of that, if I'm doing 3 videos in a row, is it okay if I wear the same thing in all of my videos?
I think absolutely you can. And it's certainly fine to also do a quick wardrobe change. I mean, you could take a top and change a jacket.
Yeah.
Your whole body isn't really showing. So if you have 3 options that are, hanging on the back of your door and you can do a quick change, I think that's always a great idea.
Yeah. Someone who works on our team, Jesse, is always saying, well, the more places you can shoot, the bigger you look. It looks like you're a bigger office. So I always think that when I'm recording, so I'm like, should I change my clothes? Will anyone even notice? I don't know. So
what I like to think about when it comes to wardrobe is what that looks like if you're putting all of your videos onto a digest kind of landing page on your website, or if you think about how that shows up on a YouTube account with video after video after video, you want to be wearing the same thing in all of those. We get a lot of questions about what do I wear for video?
Yeah.
And the answer pre-COVID was always dress 10% better than you would when you were meeting a client.
Yeah.
Like, just really like take the time. We do have some advisors who will get their hair done, who will get their makeup done before a record session, which is very nice to be able to bundle records and do like 3 videos at a time when you're investing that kind of time and preparation into it. But these days, I do think that there has been a real move in how advisors are dressing when they meet with clients, and definitely a more casual approach. So I would say just show up as who you are. I mean, we have advisors who even record videos in workout clothes. So
Okay.
be yourself.
Yeah. That's comfortable. If I make a mistake when I'm recording, should I start over? Or is that something you guys edit out in the production process?
So for our Idea Kit clients, we do edit it out. If you are DIYing, I think that can be one of the biggest barriers.
Yeah.
I have to get this clean take. I have to get this perfect from the first word out of my mouth to the close. And that can be really daunting. And in fact, that can keep people from recording videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this advice that I borrowed from someone who was teaching about presenting live on stage to audiences. And it was that the crowd is really pulling for you. They want you to deliver the message so they can absorb it. And I really do find the same is true for video. So if you can let go of that, this didn't come out perfectly. I stumbled in the middle. I can't use that take. It's going to take me 80 takes to get through this flawlessly. That's going to stop you from ever creating video. You're never going to harness the power of it. So let that go and just do it naturally, and know that your audience isn't trying to pick you apart.
Yeah.
To get your message. So just go with it, deliver your message. You know, if you totally ramble off track or need some editing, then do that, but give it a shot with, you know, allowing yourself some grace for a stumble or two.
Yeah. It's hard for, us perfectionists. So we are coming up here to the 30-minute mark. So I just want to thank everybody who has joined us. If you asked a question that we didn't get to or we didn't see, we will be responding to your comments on social media. And you can always, of course, email us at info@calicollective.com. Now, if you want to find out more about what Laura and the Idea Decanter team do and how they can help you with video, she can be reached at the following. And we'll put that up I think we've got a QR code for everybody.
Yeah, that QR code, I think, goes straight to our free strategy session. So if you want to find out more about getting some help from start to finish with video production in a way that can help you set some achievable goals and track them as you go, and really use the power of video, harness it to grow your business. That's what that link is for. That's what we can talk about. Whether or not you have tried video before or a total newbie, this would be a great conversation for you to have if you're interested.
That's awesome. I definitely recommend it for our audience. Be sure to join us next month as we talk to Sasha Markovich about generational transitions and how to prepare your business and marketing to outlive your working days. You also can get our budget-friendly equipment list and our 6 video thumbnail tips, which I had mentioned earlier about the hands. And you can use our template to make your own thumbnail just by becoming a Savvy Advisor on our website. Just go to calicollective.com/get-savvy.
Do that because the thumbnails are important.
Right. And thank you, Laura, again so much for answering all of our video questions. And everyone, make sure to schedule that consultation with Laura because she's got some great ideas. I mean, she knew video was going to be the it thing 10 years ago. So thank you, Laura. We love you and Idea Decanter.
Thanks for having me, Callie. Great.